They say you're a good person, kind, generous, always there when someone needs you. But deep down, you're exhausted, not just physically, emotionally, spiritually, and still, you can't stop. You keep saying yes when everything inside you is screaming no. This isn't just kindness. This is a wound. The need to always help, fix, carry, support, even when it breaks you, is not love. It's a survival strategy, a response shaped in the shadows of your past. You learn that love is earned, that being useful means being worthy, that if you don't take care of them, you'll be left behind. So you became everything to everyone, and slowly, nothing to yourself. This video isn't here to blame you. It's here to gently show you what you've been avoiding, that underneath your strength lives a deep fear of being unloved, unseen, unneeded. And it's time to look at that pain, not to shame it, but to finally set it free. So if this resonates, don't just watch, stay. Let's unpack the story you've been living. And if you feel seen in this video, follow Slow Psychology. Because every week, we dive deeper into the wounds that shaped us, slowly, honestly, and with compassion. Let's begin. This story didn't start yesterday. Somewhere back in your childhood, there was a moment, maybe hundreds of them, where you realized something quietly devastating. If I don't please them, I lose them. Maybe your parents were emotionally unavailable. Maybe they only praised you when you performed, got good grades, acted mature, stayed quiet. Maybe you had to become the peacemaker in a chaotic home, the little adult who made things better for everyone else. Whatever it was, love became conditional, so you adapted. You learned to scan every room for emotional tension. You became hyper-aware of others' needs, but numb to your own. Helping became how you survived, how you stayed connected, how you made sure you weren't forgotten. And now, as an adult, you still wear that mask. But it's heavier now, because you're carrying a life that doesn't feel fully yours. That wound, the one you covered with kindness, still hurts. It still whispers, if I'm not useful, I'll be abandoned. If I don't fix them, they won't love me. But that's not your truth. That's your training. In the next part, we'll explore how this pattern shows up in your adult relationships and why it often attracts the very people who take advantage of your care. Stay with me. You probably attract people who need saving, people who are broken, unstable, unavailable, people who take and rarely give back. Not because you want pain, but because, deep down, that's what love has always felt like. Work. You find yourself in relationships where you become the emotional caretaker. You overfunction while the other underfunctions. You listen, comfort, support. But when you need someone, there's silence. And still, you stay. Why? Because walking away feels selfish. Because part of you believes that if you just love them enough, they'll finally love you back the way you need. Because fixing them feels safer than facing your own emptiness. This isn't just about bad luck in love. It's your nervous system replaying what's familiar. And familiar doesn't always mean healthy. It means survivable. So the question is, are you loving, or are you rescuing people so you don't have to rescue yourself? This truth hurts, I know. But seeing it clearly is how you begin to break the pattern. In the next part, we'll talk about how helping others becomes a form of self-abandonment and what that slowly does to your identity. Let's keep going. Helping feels good, but when it comes at the cost of your own needs, your own rest, your own truth, it becomes something else. Self-abandonment. You cancel your plans to be there for someone else. You say yes when every cell in your body wants to say no. You hide your struggles so you can hold space for theirs. And over time, you disappear from your own life. You become the one who's always strong, the one who has it all together, the one who never needs anything. But the truth is, you do need, you do hurt. You just learn to silence that part of you because no one ever responded to it. So you became the giver, and givers rarely get asked, but how are you really? Here's the hidden danger. The more you abandon yourself, the more resentment builds. You love people, but secretly, you feel bitter, empty, used. It's not that you don't want to help, it's that you want to help without losing yourself in the process. Helping isn't supposed to cost your soul. In the next part, we'll look at why saying no feels so terrifying, and how setting boundaries can feel like betrayal when your identity is built on being needed. Keep going. You're not alone in this. You want to set boundaries. You want to say, I can't help right now, or I need time for myself, but the words get stuck in your throat. Why? Because to someone like you, someone who's built their entire identity around being needed, saying no feels like betrayal. Not just to others, but to who you think you are. You fear they'll get angry, that they'll stop loving you, that they'll say you've changed, become selfish. But what you're really afraid of is this, that without your constant giving, they'll leave. This is emotional conditioning. You were praised when you gave, loved when you sacrificed, tolerated when you erased yourself. So now love and self-denial feel tangled. Boundaries feel dangerous. Even self-care feels like guilt. But let me offer you a truth that might scare you and free you. The people who only love you when you abandon yourself are not loving the real you. They're loving the version of you that's always convenient, always available, always breaking a little to keep them whole. That's not love. That's dependency. And you deserve more. In the next part, we'll talk about the moment when the helper hits a wall and what it looks like when your soul says, I can't keep doing this. Let's go deeper. There comes a moment when something inside you whispers or screams, I can't do this anymore. You've been strong for too long, holding everyone together while quietly falling apart, smiling while empty, showing up while slowly disappearing. And then, the wall. You cancel the calls. You ignore the texts. You stare at the ceiling at 3 a.m., wondering how you became this tired, this numb, this invisible. It doesn't happen all at once, but when it hits, it's not gentle. Because burnout isn't just physical, it's emotional bankruptcy from constantly withdrawing energy, time, care, without ever receiving enough back to refill. You weren't designed to carry everyone. You weren't meant to be the emotional emergency room for people who never asked how your heart is doing. And when your body collapses, when your spirit says, enough, that's not weakness. That's wisdom. It's your system demanding something you've always given others, but rarely given yourself. Compassion. In the next part, we'll explore what begins to heal this wound and how you can start giving without betraying yourself in the process. You're allowed to rest, and you're allowed to receive. Let's keep going. Healing doesn't mean you stop being kind. It means your kindness is no longer a mask for your pain. You can still give. You can still love deeply. But now, you start asking a question you never dared before. What do I need? At first it feels selfish, even wrong, because you've spent a lifetime being the one who adapts, absorbs, and adjusts. But the truth is, you cannot keep pouring from a cup that's always empty. So you begin to unlearn. You start saying no, softly, then firmly. You take up space, even if your voice shakes. You pause before jumping to rescue, and ask yourself if it's your responsibility in the first place. This is the beginning of boundaries, not walls, but honest limits, drawn not to punish others, but to protect yourself. And slowly, something shifts. You start to realize the people who love you for real don't need you to break in order to belong. They respect your no. They don't guilt you for resting. They don't measure your worth by how much you sacrifice. This is love without conditions. And this is the kind of love you've always deserved, including from yourself. In the next part, we'll explore how to reconnect with the self you left behind while trying to save everyone else. You're doing something brave here. Let's keep going. Beneath all the helping, all the giving, all the over-caring, there's someone you left behind. You. Not the version of you that performs, pleases, or fixes, but the real you. The one who has needs, dreams, desires, limits. The one who got quiet every time someone else's pain felt louder. The one who slowly forgot what joy even looks like when it's not attached to someone else's happiness. And now, you get to meet them again. You might start small, choosing how you spend a free afternoon, allowing yourself to rest without earning it, asking yourself, what do I want? And actually listening. It might feel awkward at first, like you're breaking a rule, but that discomfort is not danger, it's growth. Because every time you choose yourself, not in arrogance, but in honesty, you're repairing a relationship that's been neglected for years. Your relationship with you. This is what healing looks like. Not becoming someone new, but remembering who you were before the world convinced you that love had to hurt. In the next part, we'll talk about what real love feels like when you no longer make it your job to earn it. You're almost there. Real love doesn't require you to shrink. It doesn't demand your silence, your exhaustion, or your constant availability. It sees you, all of you, the messy, the tired, the honest, the healing, and it stays. When you stop trying to earn love through self-sacrifice, something beautiful happens. You become free to love from fullness, not fear. You no longer need to prove your worth by overgiving. You stop chasing people who only respond when you're in pain. You start attracting connections where your no is respected, where rest is allowed, where you are cared for, not just your usefulness. This is the shift, from codependency to connection, from performance to presence, from fear-driven love to soul-driven honesty. And the irony? You become even more loving, because now your love includes you. No more bleeding just to keep others warm. No more sacrificing your peace to save people who won't save themselves. You are not selfish for protecting your energy. You are wise. In the final part, we'll close with a reflection, a message for the younger you who believed being needed was the only way to be loved. Let's finish this together. To the version of you who always had to be strong, who held everyone together while quietly falling apart, who believed love had to be earned through effort, through sacrifice, through pain, I see you. You did what you had to do to survive. You became the helper, the healer, the peacemaker, because you thought that was the only way to belong. And in doing so, you lost pieces of yourself. But now, you get to come home. You are allowed to rest. You are allowed to have limits. You are allowed to ask for what you need without guilt. You are not just valuable when you're giving. You are valuable when you're still, when you're soft, when you're simply human. Helping others doesn't make you whole. It can be an act of love, but you don't have to bleed for it anymore. You are not responsible for saving everyone, especially not at the cost of yourself. So let this be your turning point. Not a rejection of your kindness, but a reunion with your truth. And if this message touched something deep in you, if it felt like I was speaking to a part of you that's been quiet for too long, then stay close. Subscribe to Slow Psychology. This is the space where you don't have to pretend, where we go slow, where we feel deeply, and where your healing is not a race, but a return. You don't have to carry it all anymore. Let's walk lighter together.